Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm back today with another zine tour, but before I get into it, for those who don't know me, my name is Charlotte Rose and I'm an artist and illustrator based in the UK, and I make a lot of zines about all sorts of different subjects, so I'm doing a little tour of them. So today's video is all about this zine here called I Spy Tiny Planets, and it's basically a collection of illustrations that I made during a time where I struggled to sleep a lot. And I decided to use this time to make lots of illustrations, and this zine is the result of that. So in this Zine Tour series, I'm really keen to talk about my inspirations and influences. I'm someone that gets excited by loads of different things, and when something sparks my interest, I kind of get a bit obsessed with it and sort of learn all I can about it, read loads of stuff about it. And one of the things I wanted to show in this video is this book I have called Flights into the Future. It's basically a collection of articles and science fiction shorts. So it's got lots of little articles about what they knew about space travel at the time. This book isn't dated, but from research, it looks like it's from 1948. There's some great science fiction short stories in there. So we've got From Earth to Moon and a Trip Round It by Jules Verne and Jungle of the Air by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And I just find the artwork throughout this book just stunning. At the time of making this zine, I was really into like vintage sci-fi art, sort of 50s, 60s, 70s sci-fi art. And I found this book and I just couldn't believe my eyes when I found it. I got so excited by it. Another thing I really loved at the time and still very much do is like pulp artwork, so like vintage magazine cover art, particularly these weird science and weird fantasy comics which were created by EC Comics. I cannot get enough of this style of artwork, and I think it serves as like a constant influence in the way that I draw. It might not always be immediately obvious, but I have a lot of points of reference, and this is quite a big one for me, especially when it comes to things like colour schemes and composition. So another thing I wanted to talk about in this video is this film, Fantastic Planet. It's a 1973 animated science fiction film. And it's honestly amazing. It's so beautiful. And, you know, it's not for everyone, but I do urge you to go watch it if you haven't seen it because I find it incredible. I'm not going to talk about it too much because I could honestly talk about it forever. But you'll see from some of the stills I've put up how it influenced this zine. Another thing that I have that serves as kind of a constant source of inspiration for me, I guess. I collect a lot of science and medicine ephemera, like stamps, cigarette cards, any little thing like that that I can collect that's to do with science and medicine. And my favourite things in this box are all the little cigarette cards and tea cards. I just think they're really cute, and I love that they have these little small snippets of information on the back with really great illustrations on the front. What I really wanted to show you from this box was this Brooke Bond Picture Cards Race into Space book. So these cards were collected, they were given free with Brooke Bond tea and tea bags, and they were then stored in this little book, and I just love it. I'm really happy that I managed to get my hands on one. I don't know if they're particularly rare, but I feel really lucky to have it. So let's get into the actual zine tour now that I've banged on about how amazing everything else is. So my title page kind of says, when I can't sleep, I spy tiny planets. This basically just came to me because I realised that when I can't sleep, my mind kind of wanders and I get really imaginative, and it's when I feel really productive. Whenever I can't sleep, I always end up drawing or doing some sort of creative thing, whether it's just doodling on my iPad or on my sketchbook or just coming up with ideas that I note down on my phone. So yeah, I guess all the illustrations in this scene are very abstract, I guess. Quite strange drawings, but they kind of all... This one on the right hand side here was kind of supposed to represent how I feel when I can't sleep. This one from the previous page on the left hand side was puking stars and being awake when the sunrise is happening, so you've kind of like experienced both. But yeah, not all of them are particularly deep meaning. Some of them were just weird ideas I had that I just wanted to get down, like this giant unicorn cat mourning the loss of a human. Not really sure what that's about. But I was drawing a lot of blue people, and this is something that stuck with me. I often give people blue skin And I think this came from watching Fantastic Planet. It's something that has just stuck with me. This landscape page here was about trying to tell your brain to shut up when you can't sleep, because my brain goes a mile a minute when I can't sleep, and it was really counterproductive. Another thing I was really experimenting with at the time was textures, and I used a lot of hand-drawn textures that I scanned in and overlaid onto my illustrations. That's something that happened throughout the scene. I still do it a bit sometimes, but I went like mad for it whilst making this one. I was looking at a lot of experimental analog animation at the time and doing a lot of it myself as well. And I really love all those textures in those kinds of animations, and like all the grittiness of it. And that's something that I tried to achieve within my illustrations at the time. But yeah, so that's the zine. I hope you liked it. I waffled on a lot about what influenced me, but I think for this one in particular, it was there were so many different things that I think went into the making of this scene. And I think it's important sometimes to acknowledge all those influences. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you join me on my next Zine tour. So my next one's going to be a silent comic that I did. It's the only comic I've ever done, I think. So yeah, join me for that one. And I'll see you next time. Bye.